Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to Whole Health Weekly. I want to show you something cool. I've been working on a cool little video. I'll give you a little intro to it. If you're watching on one of the video things, I'm sorry, my podcast audience. I'm working with like an AI video thing, and I want to get good at it. So, ready? Here we go.
Join us as we explore the prize inside, looking at holistic health and extraordinary human potential.
Isn't that cool? I can't wait. I got to get like 40 more seconds on that bad boy, and then it'll be kind of cool. And then it kind of like does this video thing where I'm learning how to work the sucker. Would love to have a good intro video as well, but you know how I am. My voice is the best in the world for TV, and my face is good for radio. So that's how that works. But I just love doing the podcast stuff. So welcome to Whole Health Weekly. Tonight is episode 48. So we're up to 48 Whole Health Weeklies, which is amazing. So tonight we go over healthy information that is in the news in the last weeks or so. We kind of give it a breakdown, a holistic breakdown. Because to be honest with you, the amount of clutter and crap in the news now, you can't tell what's real, what's fake. Everything's about whatever you're remember how it works, right? So these algorithms, everybody thinks that all these computers are really, really smart. One of the things that they don't understand, which makes me laugh, because you'd think, you'd have this really smart thing and it probably will get there at some point. Have you ever noticed, like, they set you up in your own individual algorithm? Some people are saying, you have your own data, online. I'm here to see if we can blow that up, because it's one of those things that they can't ever, like I heard one time, human consciousness is a random node that it's going to be really, really hard to program into it once the human consciousness wakes up to questioning what they're looking at, right? And that's what holistic kind of did for me a long, long time ago. The cures that are out there, the basis of information, when you understand, you start getting into physiology and trying to understand why are we doing something. One of the things that always blew me away was in physiology. I teach it at a community college, and right before we had kids, and it was really fun. It was like a part-time thing. I hope I get to go back to it. But one of the things that I always thought was interesting was, the whole world's on blood pressure medicine, right? So if you're over 50 years old, you got this blood pressure medicine coming, whatever, right? I don't, holistically, you don't see a lot of side effects to it, but it's still a medicine you got to take. What always fascinated me, though, was blood pressure is a sign of something, right? It's not a disease itself. And so what we were doing was not, we were treating a symptom of something going on, but we never actually found out what that something going on was. So that was always fascinating to me. I'm like, so in my brain, I kept saying, okay, so if your heart's above your, or I'm sorry, if your brain is above your heart, and let's say you have two arteries that are blocked going up to your heart or from your heart to your head, gravity says you should probably, have a higher blood pressure, right? Because that would be the innate natural thing to do, is because now you have maybe some blockages that you have to like force more blood up there. I don't know if that's true or not, but the concept in my brain made sense. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, but we give this medicine out to lower the blood pressure without knowing what the blood pressure's from. Like, what is the causation of that? So that always really stuck to me years and years ago. As you're looking at it just philosophically, it's super simple question. If I know that the arteries to my, maybe it's the right move, but why aren't we checking out why? Why aren't we finding out that why? And I think that's what really kickstarted me into holistic and understanding that there's so much stuff out there that we really, really want to, go after and start understanding it at a bigger level. You know what I mean? So with that said, tonight is all about that in the articles. Oh, Julie. Yes. Did you like that video? Good. Wait until I get the whole thing. I can't wait. I'm like, it takes a little bit to work with this stuff. Like we said before, I want you guys to discern. Do you think AI is going anywhere? No. But do I want you having it run your healthcare? No. Absolutely not. Do I want my people discern, because we're a conscious node, that those things are going to happen? Yeah. You can use it as a tool. Kind of like the internet. When the internet came along, everybody's like, oh, there's going to be no more jobs. What it did is expand consciousness. It expand opportunities, and those things will happen, right? We just have to be the normal humans we are and not get sucked into, this is the only thing that's going to run things, right? So that's where I stand on that. I hope I'm right and AI doesn't take over the world, but that's the other option. But what other choice do we have, right? So with that said, hopefully, if you missed it on Sunday, I think it was one of my favorite. I think it's one of my most watched videos and podcasts as of today, but it was on berberine. Berberine is a very interesting active ingredient in herbal type stuff. So if you're interested in that, I want you to go to my Rumble channel and become a member. Well, all you got to do is sign up and just like it and subscribe. And then you can get all the old videos that we do. So it's The Prize Inside on Rumble, or here's the link in the chat. We also have a YouTube link. It's called The Prize Inside You, which I really like. And that one is in there. And then I really like, so remember this, even on the podcast, tribe1.substack.com is our email list. So a lot of times you'll know if I'm going live. Hopefully I will get good at writing little articles for it. I really enjoy writing too. It's just timing wise. I've always kept myself way too busy to do that. But now, becoming an old man. Old man with kid stuff is getting a little less. So I might be able to write in between the grandkids things. No, I'm just kidding. Well, who knows? Maybe that's the way that goes. So tribe1.substack. Oh, and did I put YouTube? Okay. So all these are different places you can get it. And of course, the last one, and I'll put it in the chat. This is the podcast we did on berberine. So this one is the podcast option, where you can find The Prize Inside, the chiropractor's journey, on every platform that holds does podcasting. I really enjoy mine podcast wise. Dr. Matt showed me a sweet one. So I'm pretty pumped. Dr. Matt was like, I didn't know Mike Rowe had a podcast. He's one of my favorite guys of all time. And so I'm going to try to get on there and get it, because I just love, there's something about that audio form where you can do those things. One way I became more efficient in reading books is I went to the Audible type books, right? And so it's another form of improving yourself in a sense, especially if you pick those awesome books like that. One of these days we'll have to talk about that in just getting the time to become efficient and improving yourself each and every moment you have a chance, but also enjoying that time as well. So like for me, I wanted to self-improve through my brain, everything else. One of the places you could do that was in my car driving to work or in the car coming back. So I started doing audiobooks because I can ingest one of those. I would read a different book at home or take an online course or, those kind of things. So just throwing those out there, we might do, that'd be a good podcast actually on one of the Sunday ones, is how to different strategies for that as well. So with that said, I will stop talking and give us what we do tonight. One chiropractic quote that I love. I always like going after that. So one chiropractic quote tonight, and then we go into the news of the week. So what is our chiropractic quote of this week? If you listen to your body when it whispers, you won't have to hear it when it screams. Oh, that's a pretty good one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. All right, so let's go after it. So this is the latest news in health and holistics on social media and some mainstream media. Okay. All right. So there's some anti-aging breakthroughs. All right. These always scare me a little bit as you go. Anti-aging tends to kind of mess with the innate intelligence of the human body quite a bit. And then they call it anti-aging, which drives me crazy. There's a few injections out there that, it hurts my heart that people think that anti-aging, as far as holistic goes, they're usually not synonymous. So a next generation drug tested in yeast extended lifespan and slowed aging by targeting a key growth control pathway with an unexpected role for agnametasis. I don't even know what that is, in maintaining balance. Separately, researchers found that up to 4 cups of coffee daily correlates with longer telomeres in people with psychiatric disorders, potentially slowing biological aging by about 5 years. Interesting. On the holistic side, a desert berry extract from the traditional Chinese medicine restored insulin function in diabetic mice, hinting at natural alternatives for metabolic health. Okay, so let's break this down. This was just written in a thing, a drug tested slow. All right, so we'll talk about that one in a minute. 4 cups of coffee daily. So do you guys know what telomeres are? So telomeres, let me make sure. So telomeres are part of your genetic code. So I'd like to not throw you guys. It's part of the chromosome. Okay. So it's like the end of the chromosome. What they found was with these chromosome tails, they're like the shoelaces, the end of the shoelaces in telomeres, that the longer they are, the more life you had, essentially. So the longer these telomeres are, the longer lifespan essentially you have. Now, it's always interesting because some of that is really cool information, because you can check your telomere length and, those kind of things. And maybe it gives you a, lifestyle, those kind of things. But what we know in epigenetic world, I would assume, and this is just assumptions, right? This is not scientific things, but understanding how epigenetics works. Epigenetics is literally turning on and off your programming, like turning on and off genes, having the understanding that your environment, your thought process, your emotions all actually can turn on and off genes, which is phenomenal. It's a whole science on itself now that these things can actually happen. Maybe your telomere length will actually lengthen as well. So, but then coming back to the concept of the coffee, caffeine has been known to be a decently, remember what we talked about with Nervine? Okay, so berberine on Sunday, we had to go these things called nervines, right? So they are alkaloids. So alkaloids that affect the nervous system were called with an INE. So they were nervous system kind of stimulant or relaxation. They're herbs that came from plants, and caffeine, INE, have those same kind of effects. So a lot of times it makes sense that coffee by itself, the beans and the water, would actually be good for you. Now, 4 cups, that seems like a lot because caffeine excitatory. So it excites the nervous system. And sometimes that's why people take it, because it like does the peak, the perk up. The problem is America believes that coffee is a latte. Okay. There is so much fake sugar in a latte that they suck you in with the energy boost of the caffeine. But then it's insane the amount of fake sugar. What I would suggest is either going straight black coffee, which is beans and water, which doesn't have a lot of calorie intake, but you'll definitely get the caffeine effect. Or you go really, really organic on all your latte type situations, and you're not going to get that at like a Starbucks or anything. Okay. So fake sugar is worse than the benefit of the caffeine. Fake sugar is worse than the benefit of the caffeine. So understanding that going forward, you can keep yourself very, very healthy. One of the things I see in this type of season, especially I keep seeing in the news, I'm wondering if they'll try to throw, some crazy virus at people. One of the things I always tell people at this time of year, what do you do before you go into any place with other people? It's pretty easy. No sugar before you get there. So if you do black coffee, you go to, let's say you're a teacher, no sugar before you go into work. So let's say you're a black coffee drinker. You do vitamin D, C, zinc, quercetin. Quercetin allows the zinc to get in the cells, or quinine. You can do either of those, right? There's a few more. Selenium is a good one. Vitamin E. That's a pretty good list. But if you take a nice amount of vitamins to make sure that immune system is kind of perked up and ready to go, it's really difficult to get you sick because the sugar is not occupying your immune system. Fake sugar, the problem is, it wouldn't be a problem if the immune system didn't lose its mind. It loses its mind and it wants to get you out of that situation. And so that is one of the biggest problems we have. So remember that. No sugar before you go somewhere, right? If you got to go to work, grocery store, or whatever. Vitamin D, C, zinc, vitamin A. Remember Zaces? Zaces is zinc, vitamin A, vitamin C, E, selenium. I always like adding quercetin, quinine. Those are all really good ones for, cold season, which is always the cold time when we lose our sun for a while and it starts getting darker earlier. Okay. So that was pretty good. And then what was the other thing in there? I thought that was pretty good. Let me see, a desert berry extract. Let me look that up. Berry extract they're talking about. What is this desert berry extract? A lot of times with these kind of things, sometimes it's really good metabolism wise. So what is this called? Oh, it's called desert cherry. It's also known as desert cherry. Making waves. So right now, this is the one making waves. Desert berry extract, making waves in recent health news. which is there's a concentrated extract from the fruit Natraria roborowski, also known as the desert cherry. This resilient crimson berry grows in arid regions of the western China area, such as Xinjiang and a few others in Tibet. It has been used for centuries in traditional Chinese folk medicine for its purported metabolic effects. Okay. It's not a mainstream superfood yet, but a new study has spotlighted its potential as a natural ally against type 2 diabetes. Okay. So it kind of goes in the line of maybe some berberine action. It has some blood sugar control, insulin restoration, metabolic balance, and organ protection. So that's pretty cool. So we'll watch that one. We'll watch and see. This is called the desert cherry, a Chinese herb. So remember that. So that was pretty cool. Okay. So that was a new one. All right. Oh, well, I like this one. I like this one a lot. So this is the next trend is in gut health and nutrition. Kale and the nutrients, right? It's a dark green veggie, right? So it's got super amount of good vitamins in it, B vitamins, all those kind of things. So kale nutrients absorb better with oil-based dressings like olive oil and vinaigrettes. And cooking it doesn't really help it. It's ideal for boosting antioxidants holistically. So this is a good point to bring across. What we've learned is olive oil is a really, really good fat for all of us. When you cook it, though, it degrades. And so when we cook it in it, olive oil becomes something that's not good for you, right? But on the flip side of that, having olive oil on a salad, having it in the vinaigrette style, right? Those vinaigrettes and those kind of things are really, really good for you. And so a lot of times switching and getting out of that olive oil situation, because of the degradation, you're almost at a seed oil. You're probably not as bad as a seed oil, obviously, because that's like a processed something. We don't even know what that is really, but in olive oil, it breaks down the actual stuff that would make it feel better. So sometimes cooking not in olive oil necessarily, they're not fine. I think avocado oil is actually better, coconut oil, and of course my favorite, butter or lard. Those two, those are some really good ways to cook in without having good effects. And then using olive oil, like I've done it myself. You put a few spices in olive oil, and then you put it on a steak. It actually is delicious. So it's one of the ways you can do it. On a salad is, of course, it's really good. So remember that when you're looking at the different oils, olive oil is that one. So that's good. But then kale, if you put the olive oil on the kale, it activates the ingredients a little bit better, which it sounds like. Well, that's very cool. All right. Ooh, this is it. Oh, crap. Here comes another. All right. It's going to be interesting. So there's a new hormone that you'll probably hear about. So we might as well make the news before the drug comes and takes over the world like the last one did. So the hormone FGF19 activates the fat-burning brain cells and reduces inflammation, but only with an active sympathetic nervous system. So remember that, because they're going to start looking for drugs that activate the FGF19, which will probably be like GLP-1. All of a sudden, it's so easy to remember because how many people were specifically targeting that based on profitability and some clinical benefit. So we'll see in the next 5 years if that's actual, if we're saying that. So that's the only bad part of when things hit the fan. Sometimes we're just really quick to jump on something but then maybe it might not be the correct move. like pretending you have this hormone, let's say, that, oh, I don't know, it tells your body you're full. So now we're going to inject something in our body that tells us we are full all the time. What happens to the organ systems if my body's told it's full all the time and it's not? Okay. So if my body thinks it's full, what happens? The liver activates, the gallbladder activates, the stomach acid changes, your insulin gets produced. All of these things are going on an empty stomach. That concerns me. That's why the talk on berberine was so important to me, because berberine naturally does it, naturally kind of starts to regulate that same GLP-1 pathway, where you won't have to worry about something as caustic potentially as as like a medication that like completely blocks the ability to know if you're full or hungry. Okay, so that's a big one. Let's see what other holistic. Ooh, we got some holistic trends. Okay, so right now we know this one. I hope you guys, if you've been with me for a while, functional nutrition is targeting the gut-brain axis via probiotics and prebiotics is exploding, alongside personalized plans with blending AI data with ancient practices like Reiki tailored to astrology. Sustainability and wellness, like energy efficient saunas with infrared. I like that. And aromatherapy is rising. Experts from Harvard and UCLA stress social buffers to cut anxiety, weekly friend meetups to cut anxiety by 30%, and trying to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep, which would be really cool, except for they always want to use like AI. They always want to throw like AI in there. I don't think I'd have AI doing my Reiki. If anybody knows what Reiki is, Reiki is an energy technique that's like human to human. I don't think I would do that. I don't know what kind of energy a computer has, but I'm guessing it's not great. But the infrared sauna thing is really, really cool. We'll probably do a whole benefit situation on that. The mitochondrial pieces in the cell, the mitochondria are your powerhouse of your cells. It's the way your energy is produced and all those kind of things. Infrared, a lot of these light frequencies are really showing that you might be boosting that quite a bit with these infrared technologies, right? So those are some good ones. One thing that I pulled the trigger on a couple years ago was the cold laser. The cold laser is a higher level than the infrared. It's much more intense as far as the healing and directed healing towards something. But I call it like a holistic cortisone shot, because you can put it right on an area. And I've used it many times. In fact, tomorrow, if you guys remember this tomorrow, we're I'm going to try to remember when I used it on my knee. So like I was starting to work out again, and oh man, I'm so dumb. One of my things was run. You have to run a little bit. So I was running, but it was before we had a bunch of snow. We had just the grass. And so I have this field I'd like to run in. And I stepped right in it, man. I stepped in this little hole. Oh my God. When you jam those two bones together, that just hurts. And so I thought I had it fixed up. No problem. Snow comes. I'm going, oh, it's good. And it started tweaking again, but it's feeling a lot better again. So the hardest part for me is always, and it probably was with you guys, once you get in that mode where you want to work out, there's the desire and the effort is just there, and it's weird because once you get rolling, it doesn't hurt at all. So that's what's so fascinating about it. Went a couple of weeks with that and then it just popped up again. But tomorrow, laser's going to make it all better. It's going to be fantastic. So it's good with my chiropractic stuff getting adjusted as well. That always helps. I'm going to need that plus the little laser will be good. So there is that. Okay, so we've talked about this one. I think we did a whole talk on it, if I remember. But here's another one. There's users going crazy about this is like on one of the things. I think it's X or Twitter. They're raving about moringa as a miracle plant for immunity, blood sugar balance, fatigue, skin, hair, health, and inflammation. You mix 1 tablespoon powder of warm water daily. That's really good. That's really good. I would say moringa's got some good power to it. I would say it's kind of for me, it's kind of in that thing of try it and see how it actually does. Immunity, anything, I'm guessing it works like an adaptogen, but I'm not sure. So remember what an adaptogen is. Adaptogens like ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is something that kind of balances and causes homeostasis throughout all the organ systems of your body. And so it's a really good supplement to kind of normalize and balance everything. Okay. So that one can be, I mean, we had this explanation today. One of my patients, she's going through the hormonal situation where she's just asking questions. And I told her, the first journey she should start doing, she was starting to take she had ashwagandha and something else. And I said, the problem too, some of these, moringa is a good example. To get the true effect, though, you got to take a lot. Okay. So you got to take what they call a therapeutic dose. So make sure before you take it, put in Google therapeutic dose of whatever supplement or whatever herbal you're looking at. And it'll give you at least a good guidepost because most people don't take enough of whatever they're taking. Okay. Typically, there is some like magnesium that you want to take just enough. But some of these different herbals that aren't directed like vitamins, minerals, all those kind of things, you want to make sure you understand how much you're supposed to take. And again, I'll go back to the berberine video. The berberine's one where you want to take it for a while and then get off of it. Okay. So that's one exception to the rule. There's several of those as well. So anyway, all right, let's go on to the next one. This is garlic honey syrup. I've wanted to do this so bad. So garlic and honey, you basically ferment the garlic inside the honey, let it sit there. It's really good for lung repair. It reduces mucus and boosts immunity. Very, very easy to do. I've not tried it yet, so I can't tell you the taste of it. But they say if you pair this with mullein tea, which mullein we know, right? Mullein is a very good immune system, lung situation. Mulleine's another one that's like an antibiotic. So it has an antibiotic effect. You can really change your lungs up pretty well, right? So that's a good, if you have lung issues, that could be a good one. So remember, garlic honey syrup, 1 to 2 tablespoons a day. And that's for lung repair, reducing mucus, and boosting immunity. And then if you want to go get a mullein tea, if you have lung issues, that's another one that you want to do. And then it also says deep breathing exercises, which we've done videos on that you can watch if you subscribe to my channel to get me over 71 people. Okay. That's what happens. All right. This one's interesting, and I really like it because I just made a graphic at the office for it. Turmeric's liver benefits, which is, we already know turmeric's ability to do anti-inflammatory of the joints, but turmeric is showing super big promise for fatty liver. And so experts are getting really, really good at this turmeric situation in the fatty liver, understanding that you have to have a clean diet as well. That's what they're pushing against, because a lot of people are going, oh, I can have my crappy diet and just take turmeric. That's not how that works. That's not how any supplement works, actually. But that's probably the hardest hurdle to climb. That is for sure. So there is that. And now, ladies and gentlemen, well, let me do one more. Okay. Let's see if there's any other new ones that we haven't heard. You're going to hear I believe you're going to hear about a lot of health insurance stuff. I try to stay out of that political arena just to see where all the chips fall. We're not sure. We're not sure. There's going to be some new news, I'm sure, on how health insurance may be handled in America. I don't know. So I'm just staying open-minded to see if some of these things could have a shot to be fixed. I don't know. So I keep watching that for all of us so I can give you guys, good information when that happens. But okay. Well, a really big, like some of these viral threads, they wouldn't be viral if they would listen to Whole Health Weekly on Wednesday night. But you guys have heard this. And this is a quote from one of the most viral threads that went this week. Your body knows how to heal. Give it nutrient-dense foods with vitamin K2, vitamin A, D, and C, bone broth, fermented foods, and sun exercise while ditching sugar and seed oils. Man, so much information. Just kidding. We've gone over that 1,000 times. Yes, that's the stuff you got to know. So remember that. Now let's get into the fun part. Let's get into the fun. This is Dr. Mercola's website. He brings up the most amazing, newest trends that may not make it viral in the world of crazy, where everything's about all kinds of nut stuff. But this is where I want you to be. Okay. All right. Where's the one? Okay. Here's a good one. I like this because eczema is kind of a big deal. Like it's a lot more people suffer with this than originally thought. So this is a study. This is Dr. Mercola. Study debunks a myth for eczema and bathing. Okay. A University of Nottingham study with 438 participants found that daily and weekly bathing were equally effective. So I'll say it again, that daily and weekly bathing were equally effective in managing eczema symptoms, quality of life, and treatment needs for over 4 weeks. The research reveals bathing frequency matters less than post-bath skincare. Both groups improve similarly when following up with moisturizers, giving patients flexibility to choose routines that suit their lifestyle without worsening symptoms. Weekly bath users used topical steroid creams slightly less frequently than the daily bathers, suggesting less frequent bathing may reduce medication dependency while maintaining skin stability when combined with proper moisturizing habits. For optimal eczema management, use lukewarm water with gentle, fragrance-free cleansers. Pat skin dry and immediately apply the moisturizer while skin remains damp to lock in moisture and strengthen protective barrier. Natural remedies, this is where I want you to pay attention. Natural remedies like baking soda, colloidal oatmeal, and dead sea salt added to baths provide anti-inflammatory benefits and can help soothe itching, reduce redness, and improve skin hydration when used appropriately. So remember that. Biggest thing on eczema, it's a tough one. When people suffer with the eczema, many processes go in there. What I've noticed in my practice holistically, typically there's some kind of major gut bacteria problem. There's a major gut microbiome problem, and your skin is a reflection of your insides. Okay. So that means that, some people have such a chronic condition that the skin ends up flaring up. There's this condition called psoriatic arthritis, a little bit more of an intensity, maybe that the gut bacteria was so messed up from so many years ago that now it's become an issue. A lot of times I see it with a very poor diet. And once that starts occurring, it's tough to reverse. And so in my gut bacteria work, I've actually seen a reversal on some eczema symptoms. I'm not going to say, it's a cure-all or anything, because eczema is tough, right? But bathing, those things that are said in there, let's go over that again. Bathing with healing in mind, not just to wash up, but actually add benefit, because remember, your skin is one of the best organs for absorption in the human body. Okay. So they're saying using natural remedies like baking soda in your bath, colloidal or oatmeal, look that up, putting it in your bath, and a little Dead Sea salt helped with anti-inflammatory. I would like to add one more on there that I learned from a holistic practitioner, sometimes a liquid multivitamin. So it sounds crazy, but if your gut is not getting the vitamins, because your gut is all, so it's kind of like a train going to the different stations. So as the food is moving through your gut, you have this train and it has to keep stopping off. And each of the stop off points is a place where a vitamin or mineral gets absorbed, right? And a lot of times, if your gut bacteria is way off, you're not absorbing any of that. And so sometimes your skin could be another option. So another option, I've done this with some elders as well. I make them take their, if their kids are taking care of them, or, let's say I got a really, frail little old lady, but she doesn't want to take, she's already taking 1,000 pills. Sometimes just having that bath going, putting a little multivitamin in the bath, I mean, the body really, really benefits well. So remember that one. I like that. That was a good one. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. All right. Ooh, I like this. Cocoa extract. Okay, so we're going to go into a Dr. Mercola one as well here. So cocoa extract supplement reduces key marker of inflammation and aging, a study find. A new clinical analysis based on the COCOA supplement and multivitamin outcome study found that the older adults taking a daily cocoa extract supplement saw a 8.4% annual drop in high sensitivity C-reactive protein. That's really good. That's a huge marker for chronic inflammation. The supplements provided 500 milligrams of cocoa flavonols. So flavonols are the active ingredient in the cocoa. Okay. So that's how that works. 80 milligrams of a certain kind, which is the same bio. It's found in cacao. Oh, it's cocoa and cacao. I forgot about that. Cocoa. All right. Researchers said this anti-inflammatory effect may help explain 27% lower risk of cardiovascular mortality previously observed in this other study up there. Taking cocoa, so cocoa, so I'm going to spell it because the cacao is a little different. So this is a cocoa flavanol, COCOA. Okay. All right. So that's this supplement. It's a little different than cacao or like the actual dark chocolate. So taking a cocoa flavanol supplement appears to support vascular and immune health by calming the NF-kB signaling and improving endothelial function. Last piece of this one. Unlike dark chocolate, standardized cocoa extract supplements are free of sugar and fat, delivering clinically studied doses in capsule form. Okay, so that's cool. So there is huge benefits of dark chocolate. We all know that. But now there's a cocoa. So that was a good one. I misread that. I was thinking it was just a dark chocolate one. Ooh, this is okay. Okay, this one needs to be said because then this is one of the top stories. Okay, so this is just to make sure that you understand that your body is a variety. It loves variety. And the moment you don't give it variety, we start having like verified data-driven issues. Okay, so this one's called how the carnivore diet can undermine your thyroid health. This is by Dr. Joe Mercola. Okay. So let me read that again. The carnivore diet can undermine your thyroid health. Now, there's two parts to this. We'll read the article, and then I'll tell you where I disagree with him if I do. Cutting out carbohydrates on a carnivore diet starves your thyroid of glucose, slowing the conversion down of inactive thyroid hormone T4 into the active hormone T3, and leaving you tired, cold, and struggling with weight gain. Fresh meats contain glycogen that supplies some carbs, but aged meat loses its benefit and builds up endotoxin, which disrupts metabolism, fuels inflammation. Eating only muscle meat overloads you with amino acids that suppress thyroid hormone production and throws off calcium to phosphorus balance, creating long-term stress on your metabolism. Excess iron storage is common in carnivore eaters, and a high ferritin combined with oxidative stress damages your mitochondria, further weakening thyroid-driven energy production. Restoring thyroid health requires reintroducing healthy carbs, lowering excess iodine intake, reducing iron overload, and balancing protein with collagen and calcium, and supporting adrenal thyroid balance with progesterone. Okay, so this is where Dr. Mercola and I sometimes disagree. One of the biggest things in holistic is we have to understand homeostasis. Homeostasis is the body's ability to move within a certain parameter, up and down, waveform. Think up, down, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, high blood pressure, low blood pressure. The best healthy person is going to be able to go as low as they possibly can in low blood pressure and as high as they can in high blood pressure. Okay. And that difference of that waveform, the higher and peaky that waveform is, the better it is. But we move in a waveform in homeostasis and metabolism. So one of the problems that we always have is that we are creatures of habit. So one of the things that drives people to a carnivore diet is, one, weight loss, and two, they take all these things out that cause their bodies to get into inflammatory forms. Okay. So the inflammation kind of sets up and starts nailing you pretty good. And because you're eating carbs that your body's reacting to. So in a sense, he's correct, but I've also seen thyroid get restored based on not eating all the anti-inflammatory situation. So the article to me is a little misleading. Carnivore in runs, let's say a week, 2 weeks, it's not going to do one effect I don't think, to the thyroid issue. Sometimes it'll actually help. The biggest thing is like understanding that there's times and places for really good, healthy carbs. There's no place on the planet that you don't want to have healthy carbs come back into your life. It doesn't make sense. Why would God put all the vitamins and minerals that you ever need into a garden and expect you to never touch that? It doesn't make sense. And in fact, you can't even have good gut microbiome without the fiber of healthy carbs. So that's where I agree with him. Vegetables, doing all those things are really, really good. But there is a time and place where carnivore can be fantastic, and it doesn't knock your thyroid into anything. And because we're not going to do it for 2 years, we're not going to do it. That's the problem. That's what your body loves, the surprise of the day. Why does high intensity workouts work? Because it surprises the body, and people get a really, really good effect out of it. Okay. So why does your body like surprises? Because it is a creature of habit. It likes the lazy way to get there. If good example, somebody wants to just run. That's all they want to do for their workout is just run. Eventually, they lose the benefit of the running as far as physiologically, because their body is so used to it. Their body starts getting lazier and lazier in their run, because it's finding shortcuts to utilize energy. Okay. And hopefully that makes sense. As you go, your body, that's why high intensity workouts that surprise you every day. You don't know what you're going to do. You're going to change your movement patterns every single time. Your body's so intelligent, it can even tell you what day you would actually get. This is true. So let's say you're a bodybuilder. I love it. That's what I was getting into before my stupid knee thing. So I'm going to get back into it. It's going to be this weekend. But as you're lifting, it can even deduce intelligently if you don't change your days that you're actually lifting. You can pattern yourself right into losing that benefit. So change your days of, let's say you have chest day on Monday, every day, chest day on Monday. Guess what happens? Your innate intelligence knows it's coming. You can't surprise the consciousness. So changing it up, right? Changing up your workout, all of those things. Really, really fantastic to do. So I thought that was an interesting one because you might hear that. All right, so let's do one more and I'll leave you guys alone for the night. Ooh, this is a good one to leave on. Creativity can be a fountain of youth for your brain. And this is Dr. Mercola again. Most people assume the brain only goes downhill, but a quiet, overlooked trigger may flip that script entirely, helping you think clearer, recall faster, and feel more alive than you have in years. Engaging in creative activities like music, dance, art, or gaming helps your brain stay up to 7 years biologically younger than your actual age. Even short periods of creative learning, such as 30 hours of focus practice, improve brain function, and reduce biological brain age by 3 years. Creativity strengthens communication between brain regions responsible for attention, coordination, and problem solving, helping maintain clarity and focus as you age. You don't need to be an artist to benefit. Every day, creative choices like journaling, cooking intuitively, or designing your space keep your brain flexible and resilient. Regular creative engagement supports better mood, stronger memory, and faster thinking, offering one of the simplest and most enjoyable ways to preserve long-term brain health. And I love that one. There's nothing better than the creative mind. In fact, that's what I push for the hardest. One of these days. I wonder if I got one around here. Oh, man. Is one of these situations where you go in and you have these little tiny art pieces, and those little tiny art pieces, you have to, they're little tiny diamonds. They're really tiny. And you have to, it's basically a paint by number. And so you go in and you place them, and it makes these gorgeous like drawings, pictures, paintings. And he did so many of them. It's so cool. So he did so many of these things in the wintertime because it gets, as you get older, you don't want to get out in that snow stuff. So you got to find something creative to do. So just remember that there's studies behind being creative. Don't just be a soaker in of information. Create something. All of us want to see it anyway. Everybody's so creative. It's ridiculous. Those craft shows to me are one of the most glorious energy ones on the planet because so many people are showing off their creativity, and it just gives this spark of energy. So with that, I got one more. I think, well, there wasn't much in the chiropractic thing except for we're amazing against opioids for low back pain. So just remember that. I'm keeping an eye on it to see if there's any more research. Each week I'll continue to do that just to show you all the cool chiropractic stuff. But I hope you guys enjoyed tonight. Thank you, Julie, for seeing my video. And don't forget to subscribe. right? Subscribe to the Prize Inside on Rumble. Give me a thumbs up if you watch this later. The Prize Inside You on YouTube is another one. But just make sure you guys enjoy the rest of your week. And I'll see you Sunday night where we'll talk about something. I don't know yet. It's going to be a condition thing. So we'll go from there. All right, guys, take it easy.